when children get the message from their parents or the adults around them that I see you, I'm with you, I accept you, I love you for who you are, I enjoy being with you, especially very early back and forth interactions, that plants very powerful seeds and develops a very strong foundation of I'm a valuable and good human being, and I'm okay as I am. We know that those kids, they have the best outcomes long term, right, in terms of their relationships, their ability to function socially in life.
So Andrew, last time we talked about masking, and we both felt after listening back to it that one of the things that we really wanted to come back to was this idea that we talked about, we touched on, that was central not only to dealing with masking but to dealing with any child actually, and that is to give the child unconditional acceptance, and how in order to do that we need to give ourselves unconditional acceptance. So do you want to say something about that?
Sure. I think what I have learned as a professional, and also in my own personal journey, is that I have had that doing the work that I have needed to do to become a more caring, loving, accepting person, I've had to learn how to be with myself in ways that are more supportive, are more accepting, are more, in many ways, more nurturing, because I didn't have that growing up. And I think that's part of what is so difficult in the arena of supporting children and families, is that we don't talk enough about and focus enough on what is the internal work, meaning for me, learning how to sit with my own thoughts, to tune into my own particular emotions, right? That wasn't modeled for me growing up. So I've had to learn how to do that as an adult. And now I have to take that and then really share that, use that, offer that to parents and families to help them become more accepting of themselves and of their children. And I think that's something that we have not spotlighted and developed enough.
It sounds like it's a really big and really valuable journey that you've been on. How would a parent of an autistic child who's living a really busy life, who's coming to terms with the fact that, you know, their life as a parent is going to be very, very different from how they envisaged it, and who's juggling so many other things at the same time, it's almost like the parent's environment and situation isn't conducive to them going on that journey at that time. How might you advise them to go about doing that?
I would always advise them to start where they are, and I would in some ways work with them to begin to notice more where the moments are in their everyday life where they have moments of connection and positive contact with their child. And I think that happens in what I've learned, that can happen very powerfully through video, when parents get a chance to be supported to notice things that they're doing every day without even intending to, in terms of an everyday activity or conversation or routine with their children, where there are moments of connection, where there's moments where parents are really smiling back and forth with their child, or having a moment of contact or affection or closeness or enjoyment. And it's so important for parents to really see that there are moments like that, so that they can ultimately make those more conscious and intentional and build on them.
So when you say to do it through video, you mean the parents record themselves, and when you work with them, you watch the videos together and highlight the moments where they can really, and I know you do this because you did it with me, which is great. Um, and that's really interesting, isn't it? Because they're getting feedback from the situation. I mean, even without, I mean, videos highlight it, but even without videos, when something's going well, the situation is giving them the feedback that they're giving the child what the child needs. They're giving the child what is working for the child. And similarly, when things don't go well, when the child reacts in a certain way, or there's conflict or tension, that's also feedback that at that moment they're maybe not accepting the child as much as they would like to.
Absolutely, Guy. I think parents need so much more encouragement and really specific feedback I think in a very supportive, sensitive, positive way to notice what's going well. I think I don't think I've ever met a parent who feels like they are good enough and are doing enough as a parent. I think parents have a very, very deep set of messages that they're playing in their own minds, or that are coming at them from their family, their community, and then the professional community, that they're not enough, or they're not doing enough, and they have to do better. So I think that can be a very toxic stew, because parents are kind of always trying harder and always trying to sort of catch up and do better, and do the right thing, and be a better parent. Again, parents are doing some incredible stuff, even when there are very deep and very difficult or challenging dynamics in terms of parent-child relationships and interactions. There are things that go well. There are moments that go well that I think can be incredibly helpful for parents to see and recognize and then build on. So I think a lot of that work needs to shift, because we have this whole system that says, parents, we know that you're terrible and that you're doing a terrible job, so let me, the professional, tell you what to do better, or tell you what to do differently that's gonna make life go better. And that's a very different message than, let's actually pay closer attention to what you're already doing every day.
Yeah.
That's positive and successful. Yeah. Most parents don't come to me because things are going really well and because they feel great about themselves as parents. So it's a very challenging shift to make, because we have a deficit-focused system. Yeah. But I think it's important.
Yeah, and I've experienced this in terms of how you work, because when we were working together, you were making a point of pointing out what works and what is, what's really, what I was doing as a father that was really good for my son. And I was thinking half the time, well, when's he going to come to the part that I've done really badly? Because my focus was on that. My focus was on, I'm not doing a good enough job. You've got to tell me how much of a bad job I'm doing and help me to fix it. Whereas actually you're saying, this is where you're doing a good job. Build on it. Recognize what you're doing, acknowledge it, and build on it.
Absolutely, Guy. And I think it's really, how can I say, a big part of the learning for me also as a professional, because I record my own sessions with families and I record my own work. And I've been fortunate enough to have some really, really wonderful mentors and guides and people that have taught me and continue to give me feedback, because I always want to grow and learn and develop as a professional. But I'm doing the same thing that you just described. Every time I am ready to get feedback from one of my mentors about a session, I'm immediately thinking to myself, I mean, we have this is kind of a natural survival part of our brains, this kind of negativity bias. We're always looking for danger. We're always looking for anxiety, for what's about, something horrible that's about to happen, or right, where our brains are wired that way. So I do that too. I'm constantly, okay, come on. Okay, I know that went well, but kind of where did I really screw up, or where did I really do something terrible? And it's important it's been so important for me to actually, where some of the most powerful learning has happened for me, is seeing what I'm doing that's working and seeing what I'm doing that's positive and successful, and kind of rewiring my brain in some ways to look for those moments of connection and success. And that's work. That takes training and practice.
Yeah.
It doesn't just come automatically like you described. So that's in many ways, that's the beauty and the power of the work is I believe, to focus more on strengths and successes, and spend a lot less time kind of spotlighting problems, deficits. And again, I think it's an uphill climb because our system gets funded by spotlighting problems and deficits, right?
That's the
Um,
culture, isn't it? That's just the way.
yes,
But for parents, then the the value of doing this work is not just so that they'll have a nice time and feel nicer. The value is that it can highlight what they're doing, what they already know how to do that works with their child, and it gives them the chance to build on that and to be more successful as parents on their own terms.
absolutely, Guy. And just to bring in sort of the some of the bigger pictures in terms of research and like what we know works to strengthen young children's sort of mental health. That when children get the message from their parents or the adults around them, that I see you, I'm with you, I accept you, I love you for who you are, I enjoy being with you, right? Just in these sort of, especially very early back and forth interactions, that plants very powerful seeds and develops a very strong foundation for a child of I'm a valuable and good human being, and I'm okay as I am. And when that foundation is developed early on, we know that those kids do they have the best outcomes long term, right? In terms of their relationships, their ability to function socially in life. And so I think again that it doesn't just like feel good or sound good. It's actually what we've learned is essential for long-term positive mental health and really good child development outcomes. So we got a little bit lost because we have that research, but I don't think our systems have really caught up to that at all.